Ryan and Emma. My name's Ryan. I'm an alcoholic. I know this might be a little different, you know, holding a kid up there with me, but like one thing I was like Alcoholics Anonymous has blessed me with is the ability to be a daddy again. And like some situations came up today where I had to get her, and so like here we are, you know. And like I tell y'all, man, like I was in my feelings, like how am I going to PG my story a little bit, you know? This might help me a little bit more, you know. So like I said, man, I'm Ryan. I'm an alcoholic, and when I say alcoholic, that's like a wide spectrum of things. Choo-choo, and and that's some things. So grab choo-choo. Anyways, so like it covers a wide spectrum of things for me. Also, drugs is a big part of my story. What I know is it all started with alcohol. When I drink, I black out every time. I'll say this, and I'll try not to drug along too much, but I will say what always brings me back up in these rooms, a needle is what brings me to my bottom, and it happens really fast. For a whole lot of years, I was dishonest, closed-minded, and unwilling. You know, a man sitting in here, I'd seen him. I'd see him right now. He might not remember me. We were at the men's spiritual retreat last year, and I said, "Yeah, I've been in and out for a whole lot of years." And he said, "Sounds like you were never really in it. You know, never worked the steps, never gave this thing a shot." But my sobriety date is January 22nd, 2023. Wait, you don't have to have a year to do this? Like 2 days away. But nah, man, so like what I'm supposed to tell y'all is what I was like, what happened, and what I'm like now. You know, I was born in Durham. I was born to my daddy. What I know today is like one of us. I don't know if my mama was, but she sure drank a lot too. They'll tell this story different, but they both agree on one thing. Like my mama says, he went on a run and would never come home and was doing his thing. And he says she set his stuff on fire in the front yard, and they both agree on that part of it. So, she got on a Greyhound bus and we went back to Rayford when I was a baby. I don't remember much of my real dad for a lot of years. He started coming around. I'll jump ahead a little bit with this, but he started coming back around every like once a year. I'd see him come throw a baseball for an hour and go home. So that's one dude I could never count on, and I knew that from a young age. When I was 3, my mama met my sister's dad. They would get married. He was my stepdad for quite a few years. We were raised on a farm. Like I was raised up to work, you know. Like I remember being out in the yard, like picking up pine cones. He made me pick them up with my bare hands, and I'd just be out there crying. And that dude bullied me for a lot of years. And like this is like a steady pattern throughout a lot of my childhood was physical and mental abuse from men in my mama's life. And I had resentments for my mama for a lot of years for that stuff, you know, but what I know today is my mama's sick too. The big book tells us that. You know, we got to look at them as if they were sick people as well. So, like I said, like we were both abused, me and her both. So she left him, and like, funny story, man, I don't know if it's funny, but, you know, 6 years old, I remember she smoked Virginia Slims. I'm skinny, about that long, you know. They lived that long when I was 6. And, man, we'd be out, me and a buddy in the trailer park, we'd be out there smoking out the back, stealing her cigarettes, and we'd smoke it out the back window, hanging out the window. And they had one more thing, right? Like, I should have known back then, but looking back, I can kind of, like, see it. We smoked that whole pack of cigarettes in one night, you know, just because we got a little head buzz. We kept wanting to do it, and I tell you too, like that punishment, consequences came from that stuff. But like me and consequences, like I thrived on some consequences, you know. Like I was forced to smoke a whole other pack of cigarettes. Like my stepdaddy came down there to the trailer and made me smoke a pack of cigarettes, and I was willing to do that. I was like, is this punishment? So like going through some years as a child, like I never felt like I fit in. I always felt like I was the outcast. I was less than. Like we were the black sheep of the family. We had cousins and other sides of the family that were well off, well to do. Always seemed to thrive, and I never seemed like I was thriving. That's how I felt anyways. Like what I know today is like my mama did the best that she could. We never went without. but still that built something in me at a young age that like I had to act out to feel like I fit in. I always had to like never wanted to be the person that I felt like I was. Whatever that brought forth, like usually trouble. You know, I was like 9 years old. We were in daycare. Me and a boy we were like trying to pee over the divides of the urinals, you know, see who could pee over it. And like just peed all over this bathroom. And my mama like picked us up, and we got kicked out of this daycare or this after school. And like she says sorry for this today, but like we're riding down the road, and she put me out on the side of the road, and I had to start walking down the road at 9 years old, you know. And man, so just like acting out of character from a young, I always felt like I had to overdo it. I was a show off, or whatever the case may be. And so like my dad had called my mom. I was 12 years old. My dad had called my mom wanting to like start being a part of my life. And so I started going over to his house every other weekend. And they had this bonus room. And, you know, I always wanted brothers. You know, I always wanted those close friends, somebody to call a brother. And I have 2 older brothers from him, half brothers from him. And so when I started going over there every other weekend, I stayed in the bonus room with my brother. And he's 40, I'm 35, so he's a couple years older. And I've always done that too. I've always like hang with the older people, you know, the bad crowd. And so my brother smoked weed and drank, and like I wanted to be like him. And so I remember sitting up in that bonus room, and like first time I ever drank, just getting blackout drunk and peeing on the couch. You know what I mean? And like I was embarrassed about that. I tried to hide it, but like I knew right then the way that made me feel is what I was always looking for. Like I could be that. I could be that dude. I could talk to girls. I was cool. I felt like I was, but all I did was ever act like a fool when I drank, and nobody ended up wanting me around. Like we're not inviting that dude to the party no more, you know. Like usually there's a fight and the cops are coming or somebody's running around naked, you know. But so like high school started, man, and I had always applied myself in school up to this point. When I started like smoking weed, and that became like that was a power greater than me at that time. It was a negative power, but I thought it was positive. I thought it made me cool. Like I wanted to grow the stuff. I wanted to, you know, all this stuff. I wore like Bob Marley stuff and like listened to whatever, Sublime and all that, right? So that was like who I turned into. And it's like man, this thing progressed on me so quick, and I truly believe it's progressive and fatal. Obviously for me it's progressive, you know. Excuse me. And okay, baby. And you win. Hey, I used to be a pretty tough dude, like until I had this little girl, you know, like she wins all the time. So we're about to go home. We'll see y'all later. But yeah. Let's see. I'm trying not to get distracted. I'm sorry if I do. If she comes first, so say something. So like I said, progressive, man. Me and my buddies, I had 2 really close friends. They're still my close friends. They're not. I don't know. One of them probably is one of us. He drinks like one of us, that's for sure. But he handles his stuff, you know. Anyway, so we used to walk the railroad tracks. I'm from Bass. That's where we moved to after Rayford when I was real little. We moved to Bass. So I grew up in Bass, drank the water, and so yeah, me and 2 buddies, man, we used to walk the railroad tracks from. I'm from Mill Hill right there in Bass, so we get on the railroad tracks from the laundromat and walk to Lakeview, where their grandma lived. And at this time, we're like 13, and I've always been able to just talk. It came naturally. We had talked to this girl that worked at the gas station. She would give us free beer. We'd go in there and get an 18-pack of Budweiser, long necks, and put them in our little book bags, and we walked up and down the railroad tracks, drinking beer, starting fires under the bridges like we wanted to be homeless, and like, that was cool, you know, and just living that life, man. And we were walking the tracks one day, and this is like that whole wanted to be a whatever, the weed thing. Like we ran into this fellow at the store down there in Lakeview, and he said, "Y'all want to come look at this?" And we were like, of course, we're 13 years old. Is it a body or what is it? And it was watch Stand By Me, and we showed us a dead body. And I said, come here, look at this. And showed us this, like, man, it was like a 6-foot tall plant. Y'all know what kind of, hold on, baby. Okay, hold on. And you want to go sit with Spencer? No. Okay. And so like this dude showed us this plant, and I'm like, you just showed the wrong dude that plant, I went back at like 2 a.m. by myself, walking these tracks. It's dark. I stole this thing. It's like 6 foot tall, and I'm walking down the tracks. I didn't plan on the time that I would get back to Vass. But as soon as I got off the tracks on Mill, it was daylight. I'm walking down the road with this plant, and I'm just I'm trying to run. And hey, look, I love that thing. Like we had woods behind my house. I put it back there, had a little trail going to it, and a chair out there with a magazine. I'd read to it. Somebody followed that trail back there. I went back there one day, it was straight. Come to find out, it was my mama. She found it, and she smokes more than I did. So we found out later. That's what happened to that. But just stuff like that, man, it was like I thought was cool, man. I thought that's what like I had to be, and I felt like that. Like drugs and alcohol were the solution to fixing the way I felt for a whole lot of years. And then it wasn't. And then like that's what usually brings me here. I've known for a long time that wasn't the solution, but I never worked any steps. I never got plugged into a power greater than me. So like when that thought came up, I knew it was about to happen. I knew it was about to happen. I didn't have no choice but to do it anyways. So like moving on through high school, I was a carpenter I was in carpentry class in high school. I thrived in that. Nothing else. I got an 11 in Spanish. I didn't go to class. I skipped school, but I'd go to carpentry class. I loved that. Always worked right. So. I remember being up and like I thrived in that class. Like you're not supposed to be a peer tutor till your 3rd year in carpentry class. I was one in my 2nd year, like teaching the younger class how to do stuff. And I was in line for this grant to go to Fayetteville Tech, and I went there and I could come out with my contractor's license. But I had found pharmaceuticals at this time, prescription pharmaceuticals. And I was up on this ridge pole putting up a roof system, dude, and I was so like I didn't know where I was. I couldn't get down, right? So like, because I take one, I can't stop. Even at school, like I know what's about to happen. I hate this handful of these things, but I'm gonna do it anyways. So I'm up here on this ridge pole, and they have to harness me down off this thing. Like principals, everybody's out there, law, all this stuff. They search me. Find some stuff on me, and they walked me down Senior Hallway in handcuffs, man. I thought I was the man, thought I was the man. And like that fed a lot of stuff for a lot of years too. I was in and out of jail from that point for a lot of years. At this time, I told you, like I found a pharmaceutical thing, and like I tell y'all this, man, I'm not going to talk about it too much more. Opiates was the love of my life. I can sit there and say that I love this little girl with everything in me, but obviously my actions showed otherwise. Obviously they showed otherwise. And that wasn't pointed out until I got a treatment, and the man told me that, and I was like, damn. Y'all heard her. Choo-choo, I love you. But so, hey, stop. Okay, hold on. And at least you'll make y'all laugh. Hey, Emma, come on. And you want ice cream? We get ice cream out of it. Yeah, cool, like that. And what? Huh? She ain't gonna get down. But like, who are you, lady? And I'm staying with my daddy. Hey, that's cool shit, though. Like that's the only because of this right here that I'm able to sit up here with this little girl, man. And I talk about her, like I said, I thought I was tough till I had her, man, but I will cry like a baby with anything to do with this kid. And where my life has come from then to now because of this shit right here. Sorry, pardon my language. So, like I said, I had found the love of my life at that point, the cure-all. So I thought, right? I didn't know what sick was. I didn't know what anything like that was until I didn't have it one day. And my neighbor, the way that I told y'all always brought me back up in here was what happened that day when I was sick and couldn't find nothing. And he introduced me to that way of doing it. And I tell you what, I never would do anything any other way after that. If I couldn't do it that way, I wouldn't. I didn't want none of it, or I'd trade it for something that I could do that with. And I tell y'all, like, I detoxed on jail floors multiple times. I'd always tell myself, I'll get through this. It was one of them prayers, God, you get me through this. I'll never do this again. I get out and do it again. In 2014, the first time, I was running from some charges, and I said, I don't want to detox on that jail floor again. So I went to more regional. Never been a detox before, you know. I was always forced to detox. And they had an H&I meeting come into more regional, and it was some guys from here. They taught me into giving Mark Christopher a call down there at the colony, man. And at that time, I still wasn't willing to, like, I didn't know what was wrong. I didn't know anything like that. I just was, like I said, trying to appease the courts for when I finally did make it in there. The judge might have a little lenience on me. You know what I'm saying? What I know is that, like, God lines stuff up and puts me in positions to hear what I need to hear, exactly when I need to hear it, whether I'm ready or not. Doesn't matter. Like, I was there and I heard it. So I made it to the colony, and, like, mind you, the whole time through detox, I'm still using. We went to Bethesda back then and waited on the bed. I was still using, and I made it there. And I don't, like. There's a bunch of people here who's probably been through there. Like, something happens in that place, man. You know, without my permission, like, it happened. I heard some stuff. I found out about me. Some questions were answered why I always did the things that I did. And I went there like, I'm going to go home after this. And halfway through that, I'll do whatever y'all tell me to do. I was tired. At that point in my life, I was tired. I was sick and tired of living that way, feeling that way, going through that. I still wasn't all the way willing to do everything. Like, I tell y'all, man, like, the fellowship is a big deal for me. It always has been. Meetings, big deal. But it takes a lot more than that for me. I can't just go to meetings. I can't just hang out with my boys. I got a sponsor. I went to Halfway House in Asheboro. I got a sponsor. Wouldn't call him. I see him in meetings, shake his hand. We had act like I called him. And it was the other fellowship, you know. If anybody's in here like this dude should be in another fellowship, I tried that, you know. Thank God I made it to AA and got in the solution in that big book, man. Because since I've done that, I've stayed sober for 363 consecutive days, nights, weekends, and holidays. Anyways, so I went to this halfway house. I was there for a couple months, but I started off, all up in it, right? I'm head over heels for this thing, and then the old female come up in there, and like I said, man, I wasn't doing nothing. I wasn't working on me or nothing, and that became my higher power, her. And I ended up marrying that girl. And we had 60 days, I think, when we met. Like, yeah, we're gonna help each other, you know? And I didn't make it to 6 months, and I got kicked out of that halfway house. I got blackout drunk, actually. I didn't have no intentions of drinking. Came down here to a buddy's birthday party, old friend. Didn't even make it to the party. We parked and we're walking into the party, and the dude had his trunk open selling apple pie moonshine. And I bought 3 jars. And I don't remember much after that. I know I woke up in the hospital the next day. All my bags around me. They brought my stuff to the hospital. The lady at the halfway house, man, looked out. Like, she tried to look out for me. She called Mark, and they said I could come back there to the colony. And then if I went back through there, I could come back to that halfway house. And I tell y'all, though, like, I was like, all right, I'll do it. And then I went. I was there 4 days and had that girl come pick me up. And just couldn't shake that, you know. But what I did do is I went back to a meeting. I picked up a white chip, and I'd get 30, 60, 90 days. Bam, out the door. She would relapse. I would relapse. I would relapse. She would relapse. And what I know through like that whole process is a whole lot of resentments got built up. Marriage didn't work. That's a long story. Y'all got about 3 more hours I could talk about that, but we won't go there. You know, like I know that God puts me in a position, man. Like I wouldn't have this little girl if it weren't for all that happening. I moved back to Spring Lake with her mama, and there's a pattern here. Hey, we're working on some character defects. Some still gleam, but we're working on it. And met her mama, and I tell you what, man, like I struggled with this thing for the last, 8 years since I've been with her mama. And she was born in 2019. And since she was born in 2019, I went to treatment 8 times. Unfortunately, I got a really high tolerance for pain. That's the only thing that ever makes me want to do anything different, you know. Pain brought a little willingness. Therein lies the answer. Became willing last Christmas, man, when I had to get some old biker buddies to bring her some stuffed animals. I couldn't get her Christmas. I'm living in a camper with no power. Been in that camper through 4 whole seasons. And that's not the stuff that like gets me to my bottom. Living in a camper with no power. That's not what brings me to the point of surrender. It's being so far away from anything spiritual. It's not being able to be a daddy. It's being the daddy that I said I would never be. All those treatment centers that I went to, I always told myself I'm never going back to the colony. Never going back there. My criteria for treatment was, can I smoke? Yeah. Is it co-ed? Yeah. On the way. And I was good in treatment. I make about 2 weeks, find another sick one, and we was out of there. I was in there sharing all kinds of good stuff, how to stay sober. As soon as I see a sick one walk up in there, we gone. And finally, man, in this past Christmas, got to that point. I was praying. The only thing I prayed back then was help me. That's the only thing I knew to pray back then was help me. And still wasn't going to go to the colony. That's not my first choice. Deep down somewhere inside of me, I knew that's what I needed. But like I said, man, I wanted to do things my way. Always have. So I went to detox some fancy place in Florida. And I worked I was a lineman for a lot of years, so I always had good insurance. You know, I make it to them fancy treatment centers with TVs in the rooms and Xboxes and vending machines and all you can eat, catering food. And that ain't treatment for me. Like, I need to be uncomfortable. And I tell y'all what, man, that pain I got to remember that pain that drove me up in there, that's not going to keep me here. I've been through that pain a whole lot of times, and that ain't what keeps me here. What keeps me here is my little girl sitting up here on my lap right now, me being able to show up, me being accountable, responsible, dependable, being a friend today, being a son today. That's what keeps me here. But I know that just doesn't come from filling a seat and laughing and smiling. I'm hard-headed, though. It took me a lot of attempts to get that. So I went to this place in Florida, and it's funny, man, how like God just has always been there. Even when I was farthest away from Him, and He was always there for me. It's crazy how this worked out. I go there, you know, and I'm like hell on wheels in that place, dude. They hated me. They were trying to find any reason to get me up out of there, man. Said I had COVID one time. I don't feel nothing. You know, they're just trying to get me out of there. And then I come up with I had some heart stuff going on, and that was serious. It really was going on. They said they couldn't keep me. So I left that place, and I was going to go back to that camper. That's where I was going. I was headed there. I got in, I flew in, was on the way to that camper from Fayetteville Airport. Right now, I was going to Bass. Coming down 690, and I crossed Moore County line. I said, I cannot, something hit me. I cannot go back there. Could have. She's seen that camera. Could not go back there. And I called Mark Christopher. And I said, man, I just got I got kicked out of treatment for some medical issues. It wasn't, don't think it was, whatever. Anyway, so had some stuff going on. They kicked me out, man. Can I get into one of your recovery homes? I knew I couldn't go back there to that camp. And he said, well, to come back to our recovery homes, you got to come through the colony. Mm-hmm. That place I ran from for all them years, man. God led me right back to that place. So I went there, willingness. Shaved my face, tucked my shirt in. Mark, I'll do whatever you tell me to do, man. And I got the coffee job. Second day there, he's like, man, you want something? Do we need to send you somewhere else? I said, nah. And from then on, I had 3 pop. Coffee made at all times. I knew, man, I had to be there. I could not leave. I will do whatever y'all tell me. And I was going through it too. I tell you, the stuff I was coming off of this time, I didn't sleep for 2 months. I still probably ain't sleeping too good. A year later. Horrible stuff, that maintenance stuff that they give you to come off of certain stuff. It's worse than coming off of than the stuff you're trying to stay off of. Anybody want to get a can of gas? We'll go burn that place down over at me. Just kidding. I don't commit felonies anymore. So I went through there, man, and over the years, I had gone to AA one time in Fayetteville, in one of those treatment centers. I made it through one time, and went to Oxford House in Fayetteville. And okay, honey, we were going to get there, and I got a guy sponsored me, and I was wanting to do it, I got to the 4th step. I'd write 100 pages, and it was everything, put everything down. But getting to that 5th step, I got to tell it now. Unwilling. See, I told y'all, coming up, man, all the male figures in my life I couldn't trust. Didn't feel like I could. I didn't trust nobody. Now, if a woman says she sit down and do it with me, all right. No, couldn't do that, right? So the way it got lined up, man, is this time when I went to the colony, when I was at the safe house, I seen some guys at the Arby's house that I used to run with, and they're sober. These dudes, they got high and drunk like I got high and drunk. Okay, all right, we're gonna stick it out, Mark. I want to go there. Put me in the middle of them guys, man. And I'm so grateful for the fellowship with them dudes. See, I can't sit up here and lie because they know me. And that's a big deal for me, is other men in these rooms that I can count on and that I know they can count on me. Big deal for me. So the guy that they lined me up with to do my 5th step with was one of those dudes. And at first I was like, man, I can't do it. He knows a lot of these people on this 5th step, or on this 4th step. And I went down there and prayed about it, and I was like, man, you got to do this. You got to do this. So I knew what had never worked for me, I never gave it a shot. That's why it didn't work. So I was willing to do that. And, okay, honey, we're going to get there, baby. And so I did it, man. That's just part of doing that fear and all that stuff. What I know today is I just walk through it, man. I get on the other side of it, and there ain't nothing to be afraid of. I truly chalk that up to one of the many reasons that I'm still sober today is the willingness to do that 4th and that 5th step honestly and thoroughly, and then continue with the rest of them. They tell you to write down things in a year that you would be grateful for when I'm there, and I wrote down all this stuff, and it's I want my own place, I want a truck, I want a good job. I want this, I want the old lady back and the family back, all this stuff back, right? And a year later, man, I ain't got none of it. That's all monetary shit. I got a whole lot more than that stuff. I live in a recovery home. I drive my boss man's truck. I don't make no good money. None of that stuff even matters to me today, man. What matters to me today is, man, I'm able to be of service to others. When so many were of service to me, I get to stand up here with no mask on, right? So I was a man of many masks for a lot of years, and I don't have to wear no mask today. I'm truly grateful for the opportunity to sit up here, man. That first AA meeting I ever come to was in this building. First white chip I ever picked up was in this building. First time I ever speaking is in this building. Right now. I've done it at detox for like 10, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever. I went to the prison and done it once for like 20 minutes. Man, to sit up here at this building, man, with all y'all here, when this place has done so much for me, like, and I had to get her today, right? And I was nervous in my feelings, like, now I got a reason I can call and say I can't come. And that's the reason that I came, because I have her. You know, AA has given me so much, man, to not sit up here and try to give some kind of message would be selfish of me, and I've been that for too long. That's a big deal to me today, is sitting up here and being able to practice my 12th step. Being of service to others. When I was a taker for so many years, I wasn't a giver. I didn't help nobody. I still, to this day, I don't wake up in the morning and the first thing I think of is, how can I help all y'all? But I was taught to do some things to get out of self. I was taught to do a gratitude list. I was taught to get on my knees and pray and ask God for the strength to stay sober today and the willingness to do the things I needed to do. And at night I thank Him for that. And I ask Him to get rid of some of them, work on some of them defects that's still in my life. Okay, we're going to wrap it up. So look, man, I love all y'all. I'm so grateful Jonathan asked me to do this. I would love to go 20 more minutes, but I don't know if I sit up here any longer, I might start lying. So man, look, I'm so grateful to be here. So grateful for a whole bunch of people in here just like me. For a lot of years, man, I felt like I was alone, right? I come up in here, man, I see I ain't alone. And I ain't never got to be alone again. I'm going to keep coming back.
Yeah,
Thanks.
Good job.